Hi traders, welcome to Elite Currency. My name is Chris. Today again a focus on the full-scale analysis of the euro dollar and pound dollar. This time even more interesting because we have September month close, which means we can take a look at the monthly candle and get new info from that. Let's start right now. Well, first of all, I hope that you had a great September month and made some good pips. We got some exciting stuff coming up for October, by the way. Make sure to check out our updates because we're going to offer a 2-week trial. So that's something I think you want to check out for sure. But in regard to the analysis of the first half of this week in October, we first of all can take a look at the September monthly candle, and we see that the euro dollar monthly candle was bearish, had a big wick at the top, but also some wick at the bottom. So, not really a candle that I think is necessarily the strongest of reversal signs, but yes, definitely some kind of a reversal signal here, potential at least for the euro dollar looking at the monthly candle. But ultimately, I think more of an indecision candle as well, because we just see two months with more or less a small body and wicks on both sides. So I think it's more of an indecision combination for the moment, and therefore I think that a break below these support levels is really needed before price can make a bigger retracement. And don't forget that price is still in this bullish channel. We can see that a little bit better on the weekly chart, or well, actually the weekly chart it broke out, but on the monthly channel it still looks to be inside of that channel and could continue up to 122.50. Weekly chart, yes, it did break out of that, but the breakout candle itself is not a good bearish breakout candle. Why? Because there's a substantial wick at the bottom of that breakout candle, not indicating basically that the bears could keep control. So that's the main conclusion. And we also see support levels on the left that have not been broken. So from this point of view, I think that this could just be still a retracement within the uptrend, even though price is broken outside of this or below this channel. All right. If price does break below the support levels, in that case, I think there's a chance for price to move down to 115. Let's take a look at the daily chart, and I think I'll have a fib there. No, I don't. Okay, so quickly back to the weekly chart, and if we put a fib from this bottom to this top, right, you can see that not only are there support levels indicated by the purple lines, but also a 23.6 fib. And price did respond and react to that 23.6 fib. So that reaction could be indicating that price might complete a corrective wave here and or structure, or let's say a swing, and move up to well, basically perhaps even 125, the minus 272 target, but maybe even 122.50, right, which is a psychological quarter level as well. So if price does break below this support level, then there's space down to the 38.2 fib at 115, of course also around level, which could be still a bouncing spot for a move up to 122.50, 125. Now, with regard to the euro dollar, there's a news event at the end of the month of October for the euro. So until then, euro might make some interesting moves, might continue with this uptrend, and then that news event, of course, is a separate factor that could either fuel it or turn it in the other direction. We'll have to see. That's the end of the month. But for the moment, you can see on this daily chart and 4-hour chart that price is responding to the 23.6 fib. So here are my thoughts for upcoming trades, basically in the next 2-3 days. I think that considering that basically this is a big correction, right? We can see on the 4-hour chart pretty substantial correction. Let me get rid of this channel for the moment. It's just a bit distracting us. All right, let's not focus on that. Let's get rid of this line too, and just focus on the fact that price has bounced at support and made a rally from that support. And if we look at the hourly chart, right, it looks to me like 5 waves has been completed, which could be a A or wave 1. Now it doesn't have to be completed, but we do see a 5-wave structure, and there's therefore the potential for a 3-wave pattern back down to test these fibs. So what I think could be interesting is, first of all, there could be a breakout to the downside, right? If it breaks below the support, there's a slight rising wedge right here, and on the 1-hour chart, price has been making a downside. So there could be a very small trade from 118, but just a few pips, because until I think there's a good chance that price could bounce at support at the 61.8 fib. That could be a wave 2 or B, and then price could make upside to the minus 61.8 target at 119, which could be a wave 3 or C. So that's the primary trade I'm interested in, is from here to here, basically, for upside. Another trade that I think could be interesting is downside from 119. But that depends. I need to see bullish candlestick reactions at 117.50, 117.60, and I would need to see bearish reactions at 119. The bullish kind of environment I think is good for a 1 hour chart, and the turnaround here at 119 I think is good for a 4 hour chart. What that means is that I'm looking for candlestick reactions on these time frames. All right, basically. So 119 could be a reversal spot for a move down to 115, but it could also be a bullish breakout spot, because if price breaks above this resistance, there's a good chance it will continue with the trend, because this trend line is marking kind of the downtrend in a way, the retracement. We already had a break of this trend line, right? That caused this upside, but that one is out of the way. Now we have to use a shallower trend line, which is this one. So what, in my point of view, the path of least resistance is downside up, and then this is 50-50. It could be downside down to 115. Of course, it would need to break this support level on the way down, or if it breaks, then upside to 120, 122.50. All right. So that's kind of the path of least resistance. I'll be looking for this trend line for a break of a daily chart for the breakout to the upside probably, maybe even 4 hour chart, and the break of this support. I would need to see probably a break on the 4 hour or daily chart too. So those are the main lines: this trend line, this support, and basically the fact that the price could use those lines for a trade in between them, and then potentially above or below. That's what I'm looking for on the euro dollar. And with regard to the pound dollar, I hope that's clear. You can always leave a message, of course, to our email to ask some follow-up potentially. But you can see that pound dollar more or less doing the same, bouncing at the 38.2 fib. Kind of the same story. Will price continue with this channel to the downside, right? And make a move down to the 50 fib, which could again be a bouncing spot, just like the 38.2 fib was a bouncing spot, just like the 23.6 fib was a bouncing spot, right? So we had already clear reactions to these fibs. So if price breaks below the 38, the 50 fib is the next target and next bouncing spot, right? Also would be roughly at the bottom of this channel. So this channel is still intact, but if price really bounces off the 38.2 fib for a further upside, then it will break this uptrend channel to the upside. So on the hourly chart, that means that price will then, or even on the 4 hour chart, will show good 1 hour candles breaking above this trend line, right? This channel. So basically, when price shows a good 4 hour candle breaking above that, I think that that's, looking good for upside continuation to the minus 272 target at 138.70. 137.50 is a level to reckon with as well, to be careful with, because it's a quarter level. And if it breaks with a good candle like this on the 4 hour chart, then there's a good chance of price falling to 132.50. So that's what I'm looking for basically, is the reaction in here. This is a triangle. Friday indeed went sideways as expected. So how is this triangle going to break to the upside or downside? Both are interesting, but the upside, of course, does have more space, more potential distance it could travel to the upside. Downside is a bit limited to about 100 pips, because then we're bumping into a strong, important 50 fib bouncing spot, and that's something to always be careful of. So pretty much the same as the euro dollar. We're basically, it's a game between the fibs and whether price will make a bigger upside or and continue with the uptrend, or will it retrace further down and extend this correction in a way. So kind of the same story here with the pound and euro dollar. We can take a quick look at the euro pound to see how that is looking, excuse me. And we see that price is probably more in a bouncing spot at this moment. Yes, the momentum was strongly down. That's something to be aware of course, that's true. But 2 weekly indecision candles, price seems to be at support as well. So it's not an easy one, but I think that keeping an eye on this trend line could be good for a breakout to the upside, and probably this trend line for a break to the downside. If it does break, then we know which of the two, your dollar or pound dollar, will be stronger / weaker. So something to keep an eye on. All right, thanks for joining this video. I hope it helps. And of course, feel free to share, like, subscribe. Check out elitecurrency.com for more free material and analysis. And wish you all great trading. Cheers.